Okay, let's watch Reggie's video. We're gonna be eating everything.
The gameplay of Warhammer 3 is an obvious allegory for America and its obesity crisis. You start as one of 437 different races and immediately begin killing everyone that looks even remotely different than you. Why?
Okay, yeah, he has a point.
Because unless you're some kind of clown-shoed idiot, your short and long-term goal is world domination.
No, I'm not a clown and that's not my goal. Excuse me, Reggie. Excuse me. It's a bit loud. We can change that. That's not a problem. I'm not a clown, Matfish. Stop that. Okay, I lowered it a bit. Say again. I am not a clown. Chat. I'm not a clown. No. You guys are evil. Are you sure about that? Yes. Yes, I am. Hey.
You can play as the humble humans. They're great if you have a low moral barometer and a sexual attraction to artillery pieces. But maybe you'd rather be an anemic sex criminal instead. The dwarves have you covered. And if all else fails...
Wait. Yeah?
But maybe you'd rather be an anemic sex criminal instead. The dwarves have you covered. And if all else fails, you can always play as a colony of Twitter users.
I love the fact that the Skaven is Twitter users. It works. It actually works. Because think about it. Everyone on Twitter believes that they are the smartest person. Every Skaven believes they should be the leader. Every Twitter person believes they are right. It works!
Fascinating creatures. In reality, it doesn't matter which faction you choose, because much like a cocaine-infused stockbroker, you will inevitably develop an unhealthy relationship with watching numbers go up. Your borders can always be bigger, your income always higher, and of course, you can always accumulate more mass. In a world where there is a one-to-one correlation between your charge damage and your BMI, suddenly being morbidly obese has become the greatest superpower of all. And when it comes to being immensely fat, no one does it better than Grom the Paunch. This heaving green mass of cholesterol is not only sentient, but he's one of the strong—
Wait, he ate the bone as well? He just gulped it down? Damn, bro.
strongest units in the game. Men want to be him, women want to be with him, and today, I am him. Immediately upon loading, it became clear that I have entered my own personal hell, because I am surrounded on all sides by the French.
Goodness.
Jesus Christ, even the vampires are French. I solved this—
Oh no, even the vampires, no. He eats meat, bones, probably armor too. Probably, yeah. Not the French vampires!
conundrum through careful diplomacy. And by careful diplomacy, I mean I had an obese man drive over their heads in a chariot. With our first
Purge!
enemy fended off, we can now participate in the real gameplay, creating strange and elaborate mukbangs to help Grom on his personal mission to tantalize the Vor community. As you can see here, Grom is starving, obviously, and we're going to need to make him some food. To do this, we need to acquire several obscure ingredients from around the world, which will almost certainly necessitate the eradication of countless civilizations, but their sacrifice is one—
Actually, that reminds me, I would really love to do a cooking stream. But because of my how my kitchen is set up, I always struggle to imagine how I would do that. No swearing, please write FRNCH to not offend people. He's the master chef of Warhammer. Yes. The cooking stream would be peak quality. Actually, I really would love to do a cooking stream. I think it would be very nice and very fun because I am a very decent cook in my opinion, but the issue is that my kitchen is very narrow and I would need minimum 2 webcams for it, for sure. And I don't actually know how I would do this. The living stream roller, yes. Yes, he is not even steam roller, he's just heavy roller.
I am willing to make. Our goal is to create and consume all foods, at which point our purpose in life will be complete, and Grom can die peacefully from a convulsion-inducing heart attack.
He would
For now,
never
the
die.
easiest way
He's
to collect
happy.
ingredients is to just kill everyone we meet and sort out the tasty parts later. To
Makes sense,
accomplish
I guess.
this, I have launched a brave and courageous eugenics program, whereby whenever a French army spawns, I kill it immediately. My
Oh my
fringe
God.
scientific beliefs eventually led me to Bordelot, where we were ambushed by a large quantity of Frenchmen. In such
Oh boy.
moments, the game will try to gaslight you into believing you're at risk of losing. Allow me to show you why this is literally impossible. As greenskins, you have a wide selection of characters, buttons, and settings, but only one of them is actually worth pressing, because when your total lack of brain activity inevitably causes you to start losing a battle, I want you to slam your forehead through the emergency glass and press this button. The wah button instantly buffs your
Yeah, it's literally if you panic and start losing, just press WA button. That's the whole thing about orcs. Just press F WA button.
entire army and heals it for 50% of its health.
Wow.
With such immense power, we can effectively neglect any tactical decision making and instead focus on
in
meaningful
doubt,
gameplay
just wow.
decisions, such as using a homeless lady to vomit on unsuspecting peasants. Following this, we
Ew.
were given a quest by a decapitated head, which my psychiatrist assures me is not normal. Regardless, after
What do you mean not normal? What do you mean not normal? It's completely normal to get a quest from a decapitated head. Duh.
completing said quest, we were awarded with a stone golem, which is definitely not overpowered to have on turn
look
4.
at this
After that, we
boy.
invaded Castle Bordelot.
Wait, how did he got this boy on turn 4? This is what I always was wondering about, like, people who play this game. Some freaking how they get so strong so quickly, and I'm there with my little basic army on like turn 5 or 6, struggling for my life.
Below and successfully renovated it into a heaping pile of shit. Understandably upset by this, our French
sense.
enemies launched one final assault on us, armed with Odo and 39 people he found at the bus stop. This was a poor decision on their part.
Yeah, I don't know what they
expansion
tried to
of
do
our
there.
empire had regrettably drawn the attention of the greater francophone hive mind, which caused the Fey Enchantress to declare war on us. She attacked us with an army of mounted knights. However, we have the perfect and most dangerous counter to cavalry, a 15-degree incline. The very concept of a non-uniform Earth caused her cavalry to absolutely lose their minds and enter a profound state of psychosis. In response,
Wait, why? Why is it? So is it because he had ranged and they were coming from the? Why 15 degrees? What's up with the 15 degrees? Why is it so strong? I highly recommend focusing on growth and economy buildings to begin with when starting in Total War. Then you can build strong units after, especially as High Elves, as their starting units are really strong already. Oh yeah, as High Elves, I'm gonna play slightly differently because Lizardmen, I'm sorry, but they have cute dinos, and I haven't passed. I wanted a cute dino, so I may or may have not built a cage for cute dinos, and I got a new unit, which is a cute dino. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that my faction started with like a little dino that is a healer, basically. And he's so cute, like he just wobbles around happily. He is so adorable. Many units can't shoot over hills and slopes. Oh. It negates their charge bonus. The 15 degrees negates the... Oh no. I love the Bastillidon. Such a cute waddle boy. Exactly, he's so cute. He just waddles around with his little tails and he goes and heals. He's so adorable. Lizardmen definitely need their dinos because who goes to Jurassic Park to meet the janitors? Exactly. Give me the dinos.
I did the only humane thing possible, which was to complete an industrial amount of mercy killings.
Of course.
With the Fey Enchantress now defeated, it is time to break several international treaties by ingesting our enemies. It's around this time people you don't know will start paying you extortion money you didn't ask for. By this point, our reputation had increased enough to allow us to press the only other button that matters in the game, Call to Wa. By pressing this, we can designate a city to destroy and double the size of all of our armies for 20 turns. If Grom was a car, this would be the equivalent of not only uninstalling his brakes, but replacing them with another acceleration pedal.
Oh, no.
I chose Castle Carcassonne as our target and plowed Grom into it at 300 miles per hour. Needless to say, there were no survivors. This was the last of our enemies' territories, which effectively rendered them homeless. And in this game, much like in real life, for every turn you are homeless, you slowly but noticeably decompose a little more. But Grom does not care, because I just realized the Wood Elves have invaded Paravent. And little did they know, I had already developed a parasocial relationship with that exact settlement, and their invasion of it unofficially and then officially meant war. With our army still chubbed up from our favorite button, I decided to invade the Wood Elf territories. Fighting the Wood Elves is a lot like fighting the Viet Cong. You are going to be shot by people you can't see, develop a rational fear of trees, and then experience PTSD for the rest of your life. It's a dirty job, but someone has to do it, because they're dangerous. I mean, would you really trust your kids around this man?
And I dream a Goomba was shocking my cock.
I didn't think...
Lol. The one reason orcs are a pain to deal with. The trees speak binary. Dino Nuggies? No, not Nuggies. Hey, I lurk a lot, but I recently found you through YouTube recommendation. Great find, I'll say. Oh, thank you. I'm happy to hear you enjoy it. I'm very happy to hear. As much as I like dinos, I am not good at them. I believe in ranged supremacy. I do struggle. Because they don't really have ranged. And I learned with Kislev, who had quite a bit of ranged. But I'm learning how to deal with them. And I'm planning to play High Elves, which will be basically range and range only. That's the most important part of the High Elves, at least for like first quarter of the game, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I'm learning how to play with dinos. I'm learning having a big button that just goes boom on the enemy, very useful. I gotta tell you, big boom croak. We like that. And also now I have another cool button that just summons a mage. So yeah, useful. Oh, no nuggies. My experience in Total War 2, where greenskins were overpowered after Grom came out, was literally holding up an Karez crack with one army holding out against 4 full stacks, and on turn 15 it was peak. Oh, that sounds scary. I love Lord Croak. He is so useful. Lord Croak is great. And also, I love Tzeentch. I see that we may have some similarities out of all the Chaos gods. I think Tzeentch is the funniest. Same, I started my first Lizardman campaign with Tori and I picked Tic Tac. Yes. And Captain now cries because the orcs were ruthless to Captain. That was so scary when I was watching Captain play against orcs. They are scary. I don't want to play against orcs. I'm happy that I have to deal with Khorne and Skaven instead for now. I'm gonna probably not be happy soon. There's a reason I played 50 campaigns with Empire and barely touched anybody else, especially after Elpsef DLC Goth Girl plus Guns equals best thing ever came to Total Warhammer 3.
So, we marched right into their capital and began our siege. I deployed my army in...
I feel like going into woods to fight against Woods Elf, questionable choice.
No particular order, but still managed to crush the Wood Elves under the weight of 8,000 goblin spearmen. Oh, and we also did this to them. They...
Wait, did what?
Wood Elves under the weight of 8,000 goblin spearmen. Oh, and...
Lore of Death. Damage per second, 63%. 11 duration, 11 seconds radius, 20 minute movement speed for a minute. Oh my god! Huge randomly moving area of effects. Good against armor, strong versus multiple. No! This is such an awful thing to do! Does he die? No, never. Croak is a legend, gets killed by bloodthirsters who are immune to magic. Fortunately, they just explode before that happens. He lives and kills them with magic anyway, yeah. Either you got into the woods to fight, or the woods will come to you. Oh no, I understand your point.
We also did this to them. They
Yeah, that's
really
scary.
didn't like that. I would occupy
can
the
see
settlement,
why.
but it's just so goddamn disgusting I decided to leave and never come back. By this point, we
Damn.
collected 8 ingredients. A good start, but we
Nice.
still have a lot of work to do. Fortunately, a food merchant appeared on the map to help us out. There's a couple of
Food
ways to interact
merchant.
with the food merchant. For example, we can buy ingredients from her, rob her for money, or cook food for her in exchange for upgrades to our cauldron. I chose the last option. However, the food merchant speaks exclusively in some kind of goblin ebonics, which makes it just about impossible to decipher what the fuck she is actually saying. But we can deal with that later. We have more important things to tend to.
We can?
A man we don't know explained he wants to kill us. Ikid is still paying us money to leave him alone. And the most French man to have ever lived declared war on us.
Oh,
It's
of
around this
course.
time you will realize playing Grom the Paunch is effectively an exercise in resistance. The rest of the world is staging a violent intervention to prevent us from eating ourselves
But
into a
food.
diabetic coma, and we must resist. To this effect,
Yeah,
I
we must
hired a new
eat.
commander, Gorebirds, and gave him an army. I put Gorebirds in charge of the neighborhood watch, which meant that roughly once every 5 turns, he would see Orion and subsequently beat him to death for trying to leave the enchanted.
This spell and few similar for the other magic lores are great to muscle enemies. I see. I own the Croak in miniature. Oh, I wanna see it. That sounds awesome. I love the new one or the old one. That sounds awesome.
Forest. This worked very well, and it allowed Grom to plow northward, eventually
He just
defeating
happy.
Luan in a
Oh.
series of battles that could only be described as unethical. By this
Oh,
point, we had
boy.
effectively converted the French countryside into something vaguely resembling Canada. But there's still one issue. Quebec. I declared war on the undead and began ransacking their armies. I'd like to say it is very difficult to kill a ghost with a catapult, but not
Yeah.
impossible. With most of
Oh.
Bretonnia now thoroughly under our control, I
Can you eat ghosts? That's, I think, the most important question here. Have you played any Warhammer 40k games? I played a lot of Warhammer 40k games. I played Mechanicus, I played Space Marine 1 and 2, I played Boltgun, I'm playing Dawn of War 2, I'm starting Total War Warhammer 3, I played something else too. Am I missing something? I'm planning to play Gladius. Oh yeah, Warhammer 3 is not 40k, true, it's fantasy, but yeah. I think I'm not missing any. I plan to try Gladius, Vermintide is fantasy. I will probably play Dawn of War 4 whenever that comes out. I still don't know why they omit Dawn of War 3. Oh yeah, there is a Chaos Gate that we also want to play, and I also want to play Mechanicus 2 whenever that comes out. Yeah. So a lot of 40k games? Yes. I do like me 40k. I am a Mechanicus fangirl. I'm sorry. I just love it too much. So you haven't played Dawn of War 1? No, not yet. I started with Dawn of War 2 to try learning a bit of the tactical games because I never played them before. I'm asking because Greenskin literally uses goblins as ammo. I know. Darktide, I'm worried about if I can try. I'm worried if I can try Darktide. I feel like it might be a bit too zombie-like for me, but I will try it off stream and we see how it goes. Dawn of War 1 is really good. I know. I do plan to try it. I just started with Dawn of War 2 because it is a bit simpler for someone who is never played real-time tactics. Wanted her to start with something easier to learn RTS games. Yes, because I never played those. The best way to fight Wood Elves is with Ikit Claw. As Vietnamese, I approved it. Lol. I am a Tyrannus player for 40k, so many minis. Oh yeah. Now, you see, Sam, you're a Tyrannus player, so you have a lot of minis. I love Mechanicus. My wallet would cry if I would try to make an army. Fortunately, the Warhammer 3 prologue was a great start. It really helped me. Like, I am surprised how nicely the prologue of Warhammer 3 took me, a person who has zero knowledge of RTS games, especially such big ones, and made me able to understand some basics. I'm really happy about that one. That's a good point. I feel so much sympathy for AdMech players at the moment. Yup. Yup.
decided to do two very important things. First, I researched a revolutionary artillery platform that allows me to dress my goblins up like cute little trick-or-treaters. Look at him.
Fly.
He thinks he's a bat. But don't
He's
get too
a
attached, and
he's
definitely
happy.
don't name them, because they have pledged fealty to the Empire of the Rising Sun, and the next thing we're doing is launching them from a catapult as kamikaze dive bombers. Because after all, why bother buying explosives when you can be the explosive? Apart from this, I sent one of my armies out to explore the wonderful and enchanting ocean in search of delicious aquatic ingredients, and they were killed immediately by Somali pirates. This didn't upset me as much as it caused me to fly into a blind rage and immediately begin building the most immoral army possible in an effort to punish the world for my misfortune. 11 snotling pump wagons and 8 trebuchets. Don't mind if I do. To be clear, I don't even want to play this army because microing 11 cavalry units requires a level of attention that I am simply not capable of. You see, my brain is powered by a single Nigerian man running on a hamster wheel, and I fear that managing this army may in fact result in his death, but we'll never be able to achieve our dream of congestive heart failure if we aren't willing to make a few sacrifices. So let's continue. With our French enemies now lying in various stages of decomposition, I took a few turns to figure out our place in the world, which is apparently 22nd. That's right, we're not even on the podium, but we can fix that with one simple trick.
Oh no.
Another call to Wa. By literally doubling our standing military, we've gone from rank 22 to rank 3. This is troubling because it means there are 2 other factions that are more than twice as powerful as us. Regardless, I can't risk our food quest being jeopardized by a larger faction, so we have to become the larger faction, which means that some people need to die. If you recall, about 20 turns ago, the dwarves body-shamed Grom pretty viciously, and that shit doesn't fly around here, so we're going to go stab them to death with spears. I declared their capital city as the target of our Wa, and began assembling my armies. I decided it might be beneficial to have a path into the dwarven...
I'm good. Happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. Bye-bye, Simon.
Mountains, and the only one available was through the Wood Elves. So I opted to kill Orion and take his fancy little treehouse. Unfortunately, this caused Findal to become scared, and he declared war on us. So we killed him, which resulted in Daith becoming frightened and declaring war on us. So we killed him too. But then Durthu got upset, so we had to kill him, which caused both Ellen and Eltharion to get upset, but unfortunately, we haven't researched intercontinental ballistic missiles, so we'll kill them later. By the end of it, I had personally slaughtered 10,079 people just to get to the dwarves. If I was a dwarf, I would be mildly concerned by that statistic. Helman Gorst certainly was, because he attempted to befriend me by donating 300 gold. Obviously, I accepted and then declared war on him immediately after. It's not personal.
I mean, it makes sense. You get the money, and you get to kill them and eat. Hi there, Xavi. Welcome. Happy to see you. How are you doing today? Hi.
Hellman, I just really need a test subject for the meme team. So I invaded his settlement. Honestly, the army is beautiful in a Francisco Goya kind of way. 11 squadrons of deranged mushroom enthusiasts being supported by 24 catapults. It's all I've ever wanted. The game plan is to entangle the pump wagons with the enemy forces and cause a large-scale traffic jam in the middle of the map. Once that has been accomplished, the pump wagons will call in an artillery strike on their own position, thus obliterating everything in the process. Needless to say, this was very entertaining to witness. This is such a fucking stupid army. And after 15 minutes of bulldozing zombies and pelting them with mini-fridge-sized rocks, we had managed to kill 1,812 enemies. They had managed to kill 34. Seemingly not at all demoralized by losing a battle with a casualty ratio of 53-1, Hellman kept attacking us. You'd think his original defeat would have taught him a lesson, but some people, they have to learn the same lesson over and over.
Let's be honest. They're the undead army. They never learn their lessons. Casualties are not a concern to them.
And over. Eventually, we managed to send Hellman to the retirement home in the sky when Grom broke every bone in his body by hitting him with a car. That was a fun distraction. Now, back to the dwarves. With direct access to the Dwarven Mountains, I was able to send Gorebirds to Karak Izor and Karak Bufdar to claim them for my food empire. I even managed to find a new ingredient in the process. The main Dwarven army was actually located to the south at...
I mean, to be completely honest, it makes sense. If anyone had an ale, it would be dwarves. We do not condone Bulgar and his proclivities for asking for loans unless he kills some wood elves.
Maragliano, where they were busy harassing my Skaven submissive. I sent Gorebirds down there to sort things out. Their army actually looked a little intimidating because they have Apache attack helicopters, but unfortunately for them, we have people who are willing to destroy their helicopters by launching themselves headfirst into the propellers. After a little more careful diplomacy, we managed to defeat the dwarf army. The loss of 90% of their military and 3 of their largest cities caused them to drop from strength rank 15 to rank 103, and we went all the way up to rank 2. Very cool. While this was going on...
What I say whenever I fight vampires, would you stay dead already? Would be nice, right?
I stumbled across another food merchant with a substantially less cryptic food request. She wants a pie. I can do that. The only issue is we don't really have any conventional pie ingredients, so we're going to have to push the theoretical boundaries on what exactly it means to be a pie. For example, is a severed foot submerged in a vial of semen a pie? Apparently,
no, that's a pizza.
It is, and she loved it. With that, we have now unlocked a new ingredient slot, which will allow us to make more potent food going forward.
Goodness.
For example, we can combine monster goo with troll meat and phoenix claws to produce the following. Grom gets 100 weapon damage and sundering attacks. Our goblins get a regeneration ability as well as flaming arrows, and our trolls get sexually transmitted diseases.
This sounds like a lot of buffs. I remember capturing Helmgard as a Grom and garrisoning in with only tier 1 goblins. Karl Franz kept sending army after army at me, and they all died, including an end game stack with like 6 Luminarchs. Oh no.
That's pretty good. Now with 12 foods, I think it's time to conduct our ingredient hunt in a more deliberate manner. Each of the 13 remaining food items actually tells us how to get them. For example, to unlock harpy heads, we have to sack a dark elf settlement. That doesn't sound too hard, until you realize the closest dark elf settlement is across the fucking ocean. So at this point, the game turns into a scavenger hunt, but with substantially more violence. I figured the best approach to this would be to divide and conquer, so I've elected 3 generals to lead the expedition to the grocery store that is this world. First, we have Rachnic Spider.
So basically, he is like, okay, you go get the milk, you go get the eggs, and you go get the flour. And I go get the meat.
Spiderclaw. He's a unique lord that provides special buffs to spider.
Charge bonus plus 10 for all spider units. Melee attack plus 10 for all spider units. Enemy leadership minus 5. Whoops. This is why Total Warhammer is great. So many ways to play it.
Spider-based units in his army. So I equipped him with a highly diverse army of goblins, goblins riding spiders, and goblins riding really big spiders that can also summon additional smaller spiders. Next, we have Gorebirds. I've specialized him into providing buffs for trolls and giants. So his army is composed mostly of totally normal and socially well-adjusted individuals. Then we have Oglok the Orrible, who is specialized in the use of weaponized pigs. Between these 3 geniuses, I feel very confident in our chances of tracking down the final ingredients. But first, I need to steal 30 seconds of your time to coerce you into developing a caffeine addiction. I've recently struck up a partnership with GamerSups, which is a company that sells delicious energy supplements and...
Hey guys, so about that waifu cup from Reggie, should I put it on throne? I'm joking, I don't drink energy drinks. This is the funny part. I don't drink energy drinks. I just want the waifu cups. And I wouldn't even drink from them. I would just display them.
100% socially acceptable receptacles to put them in. In fact, just last week, I went to an ultra-orthodox bar mitzvah with a shaker cup full of titty milk. Everyone there was clearly jealous because they couldn't stop asking me questions such as, who are you? And how did you get in here? This level of popularity could be yours if only you are brave enough to wield a waifu cup to your next family gathering. If this interests you, I encourage you to visit the link on screen or in the pinned comment and use code Reggie for 10% off. Thank you, GamerSups. Now, let's get back to the video. While I was recruiting the units for my new army, I decided to start the scavenger hunt with Grom and Gorebirds. The first and easiest ingredient to find was goldfish. All I had to do was sack an Empire settlement. No problem. In fact, the Empire is really struggling this game. Somehow they've become loosely subjugated by Vlad von Karstein, who's strength rank 4. This presented me with a unique dilemma. Our previous wows have been successful, and they awarded me with a big trophy, but not the biggest trophy.
We need the biggest trophy ever. That's not acceptable. That's just big trophy. That's not good enough.
That could only be attained by defeating a top 10 enemy, such as Vlad von Karstein. I didn't need to declare war on him, but in a much more real way, I really wanted to. So in an act of wanton gluttony, I created a new WoW targeting Vlad's capital city, and over the next 20 turns, Grom and Gorebirds carved their way through the undead region. Vlad himself was an unkillable monstrosity who could best be described as a bipedal euthanasia factory. Fortunately for us, he suffers from a crippling degree of separation anxiety, and if you kill all of his friends, he will literally disintegrate. Once we worked out that critical flaw, Grom was able to fight his way to Castle Drakenhof, which he claimed through the use of really big ladders and lots of violence. By this point, the war had geographically bisected the undead faction. As you can imagine, this was not good for the economy. In fact,
not the best. Just when until you meet him in your campaign, I maybe no. The gamer subs nectar of the gods, said by someone who has never had gamer subs. Yeah, I don't drink any energy drinks, so I never drank gamer subs either.
The only units Vlad could afford to recruit were level 1 zombies.
Oh no!
That being said, he could afford a lot of level 1 zombies. I know this because the next thing he did was attack me with 5,017 of them. I would spend 20 minutes slowly chopping my way through thousands of undead, only to be greeted by enemy reinforcements have arrived, and the sight of thousands more on the horizon. There's something vaguely traumatic about fighting an enemy that, despite being flattened, perforated, and impaled, just keeps on coming. The only good thing about having to kill 5,000 people is that once you're done, apparently you get $17,000. Anyway, with this victory, the vampires were relegated to geopolitical obscurity, and I can now sleep at night because I have the...
Elves and vampires don't mix well. Yeah, I can... Yeah, they don't. Yeah, fortunately, if I'm thinking correctly, elves have a very strong ranged units, and vampires have mostly expendable small units, so I possibly could destroy the small guys already while they try to approach, because ranged. Vampires used to have literally 3 skeletons in game 2. You could have dozens of armies that flooded out the campaign map. Oh my gosh, that sounds scary.
Biggest trophy. By this point, my recruiting was complete, so I decided...
Yeah, vampires really rely on magic and big units more.
To send Rachnik and Oglok to the far corners of the map to collect a few ingredients. Oglok would go to the jungles of the southeast to find lizard legs, winged leather, and centaur milk. Rachnik, on the other hand, would be exploring the ocean in search of hard-shell crab, pufferfish, and harpy heads. Rachnik sailed successfully across the ocean, eventually arriving in Lustria, where we sacked a pirate settlement to receive hard-shell crab. I attempted to kill Luther Harkon for additional ingredients, but quickly realized that an army of funny green men on spiders was no match for an army of cannons. 5 turns later, Rachnik had been resurrected, and now with a slightly more responsible build, we sailed up the coast to the Dark Elves and...
Yeah, I don't think it's good to throw funny Spider-Man at the artillery of pirates. That's not really working well. Nothing the Scissor Avalon can handle? Yeah. Hi Saba, welcome! Fun fact, all contigores are male, even the description of the ingredient states that. Interesting. When fighting vampires, you need to kill their lord and heroes. They have really low leadership and take damage over time instead of running, so you just need to break their leadership to win easy. No, Andrew, we don't talk about the milk. Vlad von Karstein plus Isabel von Karstein and army full on vampires spamming magic, and I cry in a corner.
Absolutely obliterated one of their settlements to gain harpy heads. I thought it would be kind of awkward to try and explain that I burnt their city to the ground for some sandwich meat, so instead I pretended to be a warmongering maniac. After defeating one of their armies, we also acquired a dragon tail.
Had a Hydra,
this is objectively the best ingredient if you are not just trying to defeat your enemies, but also
Look at this Hydra boy! I love how Warhammer can become a romantic game when you play as Vlad or Isabel.
psychologically destroy them, because Dragentail makes all of your goblins fire explosive ammunition. Of course, this is perfectly balanced and not at all unfair when you have 12 stacks of archers. Apart from this, we also found the Sword of Cain. Apparently, it's an immensely powerful weapon that slowly drives its wielder insane. So obviously, I had to have it. Following this, Rachnik returned to the Maelstrom to exact his revenge upon the pirates. After a little bit of this, and a lot of that, he had his last ingredient,
Nice.
pufferfish. While this was going on, I stumbled upon a hilariously awful dwarf army composed entirely of rock miners. I thought it would be kind of ironic to kill them with rocks. So I did.
Oh my god.
Say whatever you want about me, but I will literally kill
Wait, what? What did the
So I did.
comments say?
Say whatever.
How dare they? Reggie is not an idiot. Reggie is a genius. I want to shoot explosive arrows too. Where can I find dragon meat? I think the game will tell you that. Well, you have to find a dragon and then you have to politely chop off its meat. Did I help?
Whatever you want about me, but I will literally kill 900 midgets for even the smallest amount of observational
Oh my
humor. But that's
gosh.
beside the point. Let's see how Oglok is doing. You might think Rachnik had it hard being shot to death with cannons at the start of his food quest, but Oglok had it even worse. Within
Oh
the first
no.
5 turns of him being alive, he was attacked by ogres, contracted the plague, and the hospital he was recovering in was hit by several rocket barrages from ultranationalist humans. This resulted in the immediate death of about half of his army. After recovering, I sent him south to harvest ingredients from the lizard men, which was when this happened. Yeah, that's really not good. The Black
Oops.
Pyramid of Nagash has awakened, spawning 9 late-game armies that are hostile to everything, and especially to Oglok, who just happens to be like 50 feet away. But that's when I realized something. To unlock the milk ingredient, we have to kill a creature with 6 limbs. These Necrosphinx have 6 limbs. That's right, boys. We're gonna milk a Necrosphinx.
How do you even do that? I think Imrik is more interested in giving meat to dragons, mainly meowing. Probably.
I don't physically know how, but I do know we'll be needing some help. So I captured a
boy.
settlement in the region and formed 2 new armies, led by
Very
Bladub
carefully.
Spidakilla and Gor...
This does not sound like a good idea.
Okay, we're just gonna call him Gorf. Anyway, the boys ambushed one of the skeleton armies, and after encircling it, we managed to milk the Necrosphinx. That is definitely not a euphemism for group masturbation. This was
No.
technically a success, but we had to use 5,500 people to do it, so I was
Oh
still
my
pretty
goodness.
frightened. I opted to ignore the end of the world and instead focus on attacking the lizard men. We needed to kill their stegodon for lizard legs and their pterodactyls for leather. This would normally be difficult if we didn't have 9 stacks of black orcs, which are the objective best counter to every unit in the game. Following this victory, we now have 23 out of 25 ingredients. All that's left is
Only
tentacles
told
and
me
lion meat.
sink.
For the tentacles, we have to sack a Norscan settlement. Vikings, meet 12 catapults.
Oh my
Wow,
gosh.
they get along so well. For the final ingredient, we just need to defeat an army containing lions. The best I could find was this high elf doom stack, so I drove Grom into it head first.
Makes
The
sense,
battle was
yeah.
actually fairly challenging, mostly because we
Oh.
were outnumbered and my AI reinforcements decided to deploy their army backwards, sprint into the woods, and die. Fortunately, by this point,
That's
Grom
not
had
the
so many
best.
layers of protective fat that he was functionally invincible, and we managed
my
to eke out a
goodness.
victory. Hundreds of thousands had to die, but we have finally completed our grocery list. All that's left now is to cook every possible dish and feed them to Grom. The only issue
Nice.
is, for some reason, Goblin cuisine requires large quantities of scrap metal, and we have spent most of ours on upgrading our units, so we need to do a little farming. Luckily, raiding enemy territory produces scrap, so I took 3 of my armies and sent them to raid Volkmar the Grim, because he's kind of an uppity asshole.
I would lay down my life if it would rid the world of you and your kind.
Every single turn, we
How
were stealing
nice.
125%
This man is very much an asshole and must die for it.
5% of his city's entire GDP, resulting in the kind of economic
Lol.
devastation that is only
Thank you for
ever
the
theorized
habits.
in textbooks. Anyway, I've got my scrap, and I spent the next 8 turns feeding Grom the most bizarre food
Oh my
combinations I could
goodness,
come up
that's
with,
a
and by the
lot
end of
of
it, he was
food.
officially bloated and unstoppable. It's a happy
Oh
ending
boy.
for everyone, unless your name is... Vlad von Karstein, Heinrich Himmler, Dave Durthu, Findal Orion, Count Noctilus, Luther Harkon, Karl Franz, Belgrau Ironhammer, Tic-Tac-Toe, the Black Pyramid of Nagash, Marathi, Scrag the Slaughterer, Throg
killed a lot of
Eltharion, or
people.
anyone even remotely French. I want to thank this month's patrons for making these videos possible.
What do you
and
mean
finally,
remotely
thank you for
French?
watching.
Oh my goodness. I love Reggie, me too. Me too. He's a great boy. He's a great creator. We love Reggie here. We definitely love Reggie here. Oh my goodness. He got all of that food he wanted all along. It was about the food we got on the way.